That sounds so cool, Daddy. What did they teach you?
Well, there were spells like, this one. You see me, Meadowlush?
Daddy? Daddy? Where are you? Hello?
Oh, I'm here, dear. I'm just... What? Okay, one second, Meadowlush.
Oh, that's cool. What were your teachers like?
There we go. Well, Meadowlush, you see, most of my teachers, they were really nice, but let me tell you about them. Well, Meadowlush, the first teacher that I was supposed to meet was Thymie. I was a little shy, but very curious. It was like my first day of school, and I would get to meet my teacher, and I was going to make sure I do them proud. Hello, Thymie.
Yes, who is it? Are you here for something?
I'm here to learn posies and pricklies. Yes, that's a good spell too. Rosemary sent me.
Ah yes, I've heard whispers of a new student around. If you're here, that must mean Rosemary's approved of your ability, and that is a very good thing indeed. It means you've got some magic in that horn of yours, which you'll need for plenty of these abilities. Speaking of, if you're ready to learn about it, do tell me.
I am very ready.
Alright then, Posies and Pricklies is one of the more useful spells I've amassed over the years. Pricklies can enrage enemies and Posies can calm them down. Of course, like all your skills, you'll have to decide which aspect you want to prioritize. I recommend both, as you want to be as effective as if you had decided to focus on just one.
Cool, I like to learn.
Now, you should know that even though they might seem like separate spells, they actually come from the same source. There's only a single quantum state that changes, so the resulting wave field...
He was really sciencey, but it was fun. And I couldn't wait to try it out. I tried my best to listen to his description anyway.
Interesting choice of words, as that is exactly what you'll do with me. To show that you understand how it works, you'll hit me first with pricklies, then with posies. The important thing to watch is how it changes the way I behave. Don't worry, I've been hit with worse.
And so he actually asked me to cast a spell on him. I did my very best, even though I was a little full back then, and I cast my spell.
Oh dear, I feel like I could break a mountain with my bare hooves. I won't, but I need to. Okay, I have it under control now. What a potent spell. You did well with pricklies, should I mention. If you use it and know how to deal with an upset foe, you'll deal more damage when you follow it up with an attack spell. It might be harder to deal with the enemy, but the rewards can be worth the risk. Interesting, I can tell when a student has learned the posy spell well. As I feel calmer than a gentle breeze, well done.
And then he made me go to another teacher. I've learned posies and pricklies, and I made flowers grow multiple times on the school ground, but I guess that just happens when you're learning things. I was sent to see another pony. Let me think about who that was. It was Parsley. I teleported onto his front porch. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You had to step on those spaces between the stones, didn't you? You got to dust those too, you know. Oh, I'm sorry. I kind of slipped past them all and teleported up there. But Thymie told me to come to you. Oh, fine. Learn it fast and be gone with you so I can clean. Sphere of Protection will absorb the magical attacks of your foes and can deal damage to them too. It protects you quite well. In fact, you will take less damage for up to a minute. Thank you, Professor! Matter of fact, I think there is a small pile of dust where your hooves are. Would you mind using that sphere there to clean it up? One use should do the trick. I guess the other teachers would be happy that I made you learn how to use it too. Okay, so let's see. What I had to do is I had to clean with my new spell, and my new spell was a sphere of protection. It is like a little bubble that wraps around you, and when you do it properly, let's see.
Wonderful, this place looks like a fraction of a percent cleaner. Just what I wanted. I suppose you're happy that you've grasped how the sphere works.
Thank you.
Happy to help. Now if you feel sufficiently taught about the sphere of protection, I'm sure there's another teacher you'd want to be meeting.
Yes, and I got to meet another teacher that very day. It was full of learning, and the teacher that I was being told to go to was Sage. Let's see. Let me remember.
Salutations, young one. What brings you to Sage's study?
Parsley told me to come to you about magical arrows and hypnosis. Those were two other spells I was going to learn that day. It was a really full day, but I loved it, Meadowlush.
Has he now? Luckily for you, he's quite right. I consider myself adept in magical abilities, from the simplest of teleportation spells to the more complex creation spells.
And he told me many sciencey things.
So, hypnosis, as a unicorn, you have the ability to hypnotize other living beings and bend their minds to your will. How do you feel about this?
It seems useful.
If used against foes, it compels them to fight each other while you prepare your next attack.
It's like, getting some pony that I know to get cookies from Flan for me, which I would never, ever, ever do. I promise, Meadowlush. I'm a good pony.
You carry a big responsibility if you decide to use it.
I knew I had responsibility with this. I would be a good pony. I won't use it on other ponies. Sure. The mind of a pony is malleable, and magic can shatter even the strongest. You have to be careful with your magic and not use it on any other ponies. And yeah, you just have to do it safely. I understand.
Good, now let me tell about the other spell you came for. Well, magic holds many wonders. Some spells are more potent than others. Take the magic arrow. Even with the purest intentions, this spell can deal serious damage. The more refined, the more powerful and dangerous it becomes. It is not a spell to be used lightly, even at its weakest. It leaves more than a simple paper cut.
Yes, Meadowlush, that is a very strong spell.
You should never take these matters lightly. Spells can be used for good or bad in equal measures, but magic arrows are amongst the most dangerous.
I will use it carefully.
Are you certain? It is one thing to say that you'll never use it, but to be put in a position where you might have to use it is quite another. I want you to see what it can do.
And he said he was going to use a sphere of protection and then me using my arrow onto him. And I did. And it flew right at him and somehow shattered his sphere of protection, but he was fine.
Now you know the power of the magic arrow. See why it is not something minor to play with? Choose how to use it well, and it will clear many paths for you.
Yes, Sage, I'll be careful.
Then you are ready. I can see great potential in you if you use your magic wisely. Your future will shine bright. Now, magic cannot all be taught in a classroom or by old unicorns telling younglings like you what to do. Go somewhere unfamiliar and challenge yourself. And he told me to go to
Evershade Forest again. Let's see. I opened my magical book, and yes, Meadowlush, I was given a book to write everything down that I had to do, and I was supposed to go back to the Evershade Forest. And I had learned quite a few spells that day, and I was going to use all of them and make my teachers proud. Well, at least try to. So I started teleporting, like I usually do. Okay. Anyway, I was a little exhausted that day, but I tried. Teleport is magic, yay. But it's normal Meadowlush to teleport through the streets here. So anyway, hopped on the train to Ponydale. I really couldn't contain my excitement anymore, Meadowlush, so I teleported from the train wagon into the forest. And yes, I was that kind of pony. Anyway, I was supposed to meet some pony in here, known as Arcane Gleam, and she was going to help me with some of the wasps. If the forest mushrooms go bad that easily, and the poisonous plants won't react with... Oh, I didn't see you, Greetings and salutations, tiny new friend. What brings you to the abode of the finest of all magical learners? And yes, she was pretty amazing. I'm a magic student too. Sage wants me to get some experience fighting hornets near Evershade. I'm sorry if I seem off kilter. I'm about to potentially break ground on a new spell. Oh, did you say you were here to use your magic against hornets? Well, if that's the case, let's cut straight to the quick. You timed your visit well. Go on, fight the little bringers of madness. I kind of wanted to go there, but I was a little scared at first and was... I guess they wanted me to be a little more careful. So let's see, what did I have to do? Apparently I killed one of them with my spells without really noticing it or wanting to. Anyway, I went over to Arcane Gleam, and after I made it go away... Excellent, you're on your way. If you don't mind, I need to pick up some mushrooms from the Evershade. Stay right here, and if I don't come back, assume the Dryads accepted me as one of their own. And so she eventually ran off to the Evershade Forest, and while I was waiting here, something interesting happened, because apparently I was not alone. There was a pony known as Illumination, and he was standing at the side of the forest watching me. Another magic user. There will always be more, she said, and she was interesting to see me. And she introduced herself to me as Illumination, and she was curious about what I've been learning. Even if you won't say it, it's obvious. And yes, she said I was not supposed to be using the magic that they taught me at the school, which was really strange to me because I liked it. It was nice. If you've never seen that side of magic, you don't know what you're doing to yourself. Magic is violent, it's evil, and it always backfires. I was confused. What in Equestria are you talking about? That is very strange. You can see you want to get your mark in it, and you have to stop right now. You're going to hurt every pony. And I have to stop you. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm convinced magic is violent and evil by design. Convince me I'm wrong and use one of your spells. That was interesting. But, Meadowlush, I'm certain you know which spell I was going to use. I didn't want to hurt the pony, but I did want to make them calm down. So I used the first spell I was taught. Posies and pricklies. What? Wait, what is this feeling? It's so everything I was feeling before it's all gone. I feel, well, like not fighting anymore. I guess I could have at least partially mistaken. I've not been this amenable for some time. I want to know what that spell is. It's called Posies and Pricklies. They didn't teach this at school. Maybe they just came up with it. I guess you won the challenge. I honestly didn't think it was possible. Excuse me, I need to go think. And she suddenly ran away. Magic is good, Meadowlush. It is our abilities, and we can use them to our very fullest. And after a while, Arcane Gleam came back, and apparently she didn't notice what happened with Illumination. Who was that mare? Did she have a apparently, oh, actually she did, but she didn't really know about her, so I told her. That is fascinating. You did wonders with your magic, but this is a little much for a cult your age.
Not that foals can't take care of themselves. I wonder who that pony was. She reminded me of a former student.
And I found out that Illumination stopped her studies because she had a terrible day. I used what I learned to deal with it. Yes, Meadowlush, what you learn is what you can use.
I understand that you thought about learning this craft as a talent mark discipline. If you have done all this, it would certainly fit you well. I've concluded my business with you, so you're free to go now. Good luck, little foal.
And thus I finished my quest in the Everfree Forest and left the Everfree Forest. But then, Meadowlush, the unthinkable happened that day. It was not just any day for me, Meadowlush. You see, I came back to the school and I looked towards my hinds and, well, I noticed something very interesting and green on there, and that being my cutie mark. Yes, Meadowlush, it was the day I got my cutie mark. And so, I only had one more thing to do. I had made ponies' lives easy, I got to learn things, and it was time for my graduation ceremony. And I would make my way over there and meet all the ponies and get to see what life is like for a pony with a cutie mark.